Dr. Karen Lee, the Chancellor of Honolulu Community College, talked to EAH on the role the college provides to Hawaii students through its various programs and undergraduate courses that lead to two-year associate degrees. The college specifically structures their courses to meet Hawaii's workforce shortages and provides courses that lead to career and technical education and to university degrees. Many courses are geared toward working students. Following her presentation, Karen answered the attendees' many questions. She also discussed how EAH can work with HCC to mentor students for job internships with engineering and architecture companies.
Thanks, everybody, for being here on time. Okay, so does anybody have any announcements this week? What you got, Bill?
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to bring emphasis to the fine flyer that we get each month. We get the physical copy here, but our website, Sam, has all this posted. I think it is fascinating enough that if you're ever doing a sales pitch and looking for some other folks to join us, just by representing our website and have them check it out, it can be addicting. It's fine print on the back. This other one is 90 years back in history and shows the archive practice of the organization that started in 1902, and that we're continuing quite well with having video that is part of the archives mentioned in our website. That's my pitch, and try to use it as an advantage to get others interested in our organization.
Glad to have people here today. I'm glad to share this day with you all. You want to introduce our guest today?
I know that she's been the chancellor at Honolulu Community College for the last 2 years, and then officially for the last 2 years, and before that another 3 years as the interim chancellor. And she's also had positions of responsibility at the UH. Lee told me this morning on the way in that Mr. McLean was one of your mentors at the UH. But she has also had various positions there at the UH. And she's going to tell us everything today about the Hawaii Community College.
My name is Karen Lee. And as Sam mentioned, I've been at Honolulu as either the interim or the so-called permanent chancellor for the last 5 years. Before that, I was the vice chancellor of academic affairs. And for those of you who are maybe not aware, Honolulu Community College is one of 7 community colleges in the state, and we are under the University of Hawaii system. So the University of Hawaii system has the 3 baccalaureate granting institutions, Manoa, West Oahu, and UH Hilo. And then there are 7 of us that are community colleges, 4 on island. They are Kapiolani, Honolulu, Leeward, and Windward. Honolulu Community College is the oldest community college in the state. We just celebrated 104 years. So we started in 1920. I kind of tailored my presentation to talk a little bit about the value of college in case you are out and about talking to your colleagues or friends, neighbors, family, and you know someone who says, I don't want to go to college. I just graduated from high school, but why should I go? So I thought I'd talk a little bit about that and then hone in on meeting workforce needs and then specifically about HCC here on Oahu. So sorry if some of these slides are not super clear, but I first wanted to talk a little bit about national data and the value of a college degree. This actually is a bachelor's degree. We grant associate's degrees, so 2-year degrees. But I wanted to mention this because I saw it on a website, a recent website, talking about median annual wages for recent college graduates versus those with just a high school diploma. The tagline of this particular webpage was, yes, college is still worth it. The wage gap between recent college and high school graduates has been widening for decades. And I've actually seen several reports put out by the Federal Reserve showing and tracking this data. So you can see average wages for somebody with a bachelor's degree versus a high school diploma nationally. And then what about in Hawaii? UHERO put out a report just a few months ago around why the college investment is still worth it. Here in Hawaii, lifetime earnings for bachelor degree holders are about $2.8 million, on average about 27% higher than earnings for those who left without a degree. Same for the Associate of Science and Associate of Applied Science degree holders, which we offer at the community colleges, still much higher than those with just a high school diploma. And the Georgetown University Center on Education and the Workforce predicts that by 2031, 70% of Hawaii jobs will require some post-secondary education and training or more. So that's just a few years away. Those with just a high school diploma will not be ready for the majority of jobs that will be offered here in Hawaii. Nationally, only 28% of jobs will go to workers with a high school diploma or less, and they usually do not pay a living wage. By 2031, this is important for all of you in the engineering and architectural space, jobs in the managerial and professional economy will be held overwhelmingly by highly educated workers. Only 3% will have less than a high school diploma. So this is just important to note as we are thinking about educating young people. Sorry, again, kind of small. Bill's looking intently at his computer screen. But here you can see Hawaii jobs forecasted just a few years ago, from now, again, 2031 by education level. Some college, no degree, 21% of the share of jobs in Hawaii will require that. And associate's degree, at least 12% of the share of jobs in Hawaii will require that. So that means that 33% of all jobs in a few years will require at least some college. So some kind of training beyond high school. And then you can see bachelor's degree is a quarter, graduate degree 11%. If you add all of that up, the clear majority of jobs will require something. And we usually look at this, oh, I should use this, the middle skills here. We're looking at jobs for the middle skills required in the future. So what makes sense for Hawaii? I just wanted to point out articles that we're seeing, you know, just a month ago, how Gen Z is becoming the tool belt generation. At HonCC, we offer all of the trades. So, you know, we're kind of known for construction trades. We offer welding, plumbing, sheet metal and plastics, carpentry, refrigeration, AC. On the transportation side, it's automotive technicians, diesel mechanics, and aviation mechanics as well. So we're kind of known for that, but we also offer what we're kind of like loosely deeming the soft trades. So fashion technology is really big on our campus, cosmetology, administration of justice, firefighting. So a number of other types of career and technical education initiatives. At Fast Company, the magazine, they wrote an article entitled, "You Can't Have an AI Plumber, Why Gen Z Might Be Ditching College for the Skilled Trades." You're not ditching college, you're doing post-secondary education beyond. And the Hetchinger report wrote, "Long disparaged education for the skilled trades is slowly coming into fashion." And their subtitle is "Higher Demand, Better Pay, and New Respect Are Drawing Students to the Trades." They quoted the president of a college on the mainland, the Williamson College of the Trades. He says, if you look at where the jobs are, the sweet spot is an associate's degree with a focus on the trades. Just recently, we featured a student at our Board of Regents meeting. She graduated from Manoa with a bachelor's degree. 10 years later, has come to Honolulu Community College. We see quite a bit of this, students with bachelor's degrees coming back to get more training and education. And she is a RAC student, refrigeration AC. So what happened to her was she is in the airline industry. When COVID hit, she got very worried about getting furloughed. And she realized she needed a skilled trade. And so she decided to pick refrigeration AC. I'm still not quite sure how she picked that, but she's killing it. She's one of the top students in the program, and the faculty are working with her very, very closely, and a couple of the other women in the program. It's heavily male, as you can imagine, as evidenced by our audience today. So where is Honolulu Community College going? So we talk about this a lot on my campus. We want to make sure that our graduates are prepared for high wage, high demand openings. So skills that prepare them for the workforce. We want to be career, not just job focused. So even if we're putting students on a path, they've got to make it to a living wage, a family sustaining wage, not just a job right after they graduate. We want to be responsive to the industry. We're promoting high-tech, cutting-edge preparation for the future. And we want to make sure we're including professional skills, because that's what we hear a lot from the industry. What we are trying to do, and we've really been emphasizing in the last 2 years, is partnerships with industry. And that's where all of you come in. We have some pretty amazing partnerships. Hawthorne Cat in the diesel industry, we have a little corner dedicated to them. They give us equipment for free. They hire our students, our diesel students, for internships. And then those almost always lead to full-time employment. Johnson Controls has given us a ton of money, scholarships for our refrigeration AC students. They come and are guest speakers in our classrooms. They hire our internships. They are constantly on our campus trying to recruit our best and brightest. They give us about $400,000 a year. So we had to write for a grant with Johnson Controls. Hawaiian Airlines is the one that has been in the news more recently. So this is a pretty innovative partnership. We offer the only aeronautical technicians, the mechanics program in the Pacific. And there is a massive shortage of airline mechanics in our state and also in the Western region. And our bottleneck is qualified faculty. They have to be FAA certified. They have to have certain licensing. And we don't pay in public higher education as much as they can make in the industry. So Hawaiian Airlines pledged 2 technicians that they pay on their dime who teach in our classes. I don't know how much they get paid. I don't want to know, but they came in because they said we need to invest in the mechanics program. And sure, they get to look and see who the best and brightest are in the classes, but students are not beholden to them to go to Hawaiian Airlines for jobs. They work at United, some are going to Boeing, some are working in cargo airlines. So they have, their choices, but it's really nice to have Hawaiian Airlines partner with us. And we're really trying to beef up our industry committees, so advisory committees, to ensure that what we're teaching is what the industry needs. For this particular group, you may be familiar with, we have a pre-engineering program, so students then go to the College of Engineering at UH Manoa. But also we have an AEC program, our Architectural Engineering Construction Design program. They teach CAD and Revit. Many of those students work directly. They go to work right outside of graduation. So we have partnerships with DPP, with the Board of Water Supply, a lot of the architectural firms. So we're really trying to promote that so our students can go direct to industry. Norman Takea is our main point of contact. He's our faculty for that. So we really are trying to push, like I mentioned, the stronger connection to industry. We want to create easier paths. So if students are taking a non-credit class, and let's say they want to parlay that into a degree, they can do so. We're trying to create more 8-week online classes in case people are working and they still want to increase their educational capacity. Again, working with the advisory committees, increasing internships and other work-based learning opportunities, and easier paths to transfer if students want to get a bachelor's degree. So I created this for the Rotary Club, but this pertains to all of you too. Like, how can you help? Scholarships for our students. A lot of our students are first-generation college goers, graduates in public schools, really want to further themselves, but finances, sometimes it's just books and tools. Our tools can cost, like I say here, up to $800 per tool kit. Even cosmetology, the toolkit is super duper expensive. Refrigeration, AC, firefighting, because they have to have the whole kit, the steel toe boots, the hat, you know, all of that, that's fire repellent. Many of our programs could use financial support as well. Internships, if any of you are working at companies or came from companies, doing the internship route, even if it's just a week or two, is super helpful for our students to get exposed to what goes on in the day-to-day. Membership in our advisory committees, telling us what's coming up. And then just as you go to dinners or to church or meeting with other clubs and people ask you about the value of a college degree, promote that, because as you can see in the data I presented early on, that is the best hope for their future and for Hawaii's future. And that's it. That's my presentation. Questions about UH or programs that we offer? Are any of you UH graduates? Yay! Awesome.
What do you think it will be the impact of AI overall? And do you foresee any?
Yes, we do. And what we're trying to do is encourage our faculty to embrace it. It's here, it's coming. And if we put our heads in the ground or in the sand, I think we're missing a really amazing opportunity. Just recently, last year, I went to a conference on workforce development, and I saw one company is now trying to put curriculum into those Google glasses so that you can do hands-on learning like welding, but virtually.
Oh.
So they're looking at, you know, wires that you can weld and metals, but you're just really looking through the Google lens in order to do that. And I don't think our faculty are quite ready, but I'm super fascinated to learn more about that. And so they're going to come and do a presentation for us. Other types of AI like ChatGPT and all of that, I think our liberal arts faculty are trying to learn more about that and how we can utilize that for learning. What we've been hearing is that AI won't replace jobs wholesale, but they will replace parts of jobs.
The way that AI, I look at it, is the way it'll make someone less qualified be able to do that for you. That's how I look at AI. So it'll open the job market up to those less qualified to be able to perform certain jobs. That's
It could be.
So that's my point.
Yeah.
And not make them a threat to your job.
No, not me. I'm in the field. Unless the robots start moving, you know, unless those robots become more affordable, then I'm pretty safe.
But we still not need people who understand and can use their hands and brains, you know, to get stuff done. So like we have a cyber program, it's called SENT, and a lot of that is understanding the wiring, the networks, you know, how the securities work. And, you know, AI isn't going to be able to like come into your room, your wired room, and figure out what's wrong. Not yet. Probably it's coming. Yeah.
I feel your sentiments about the instructor issue with the airline mechanics. So yeah. I noticed that a lot of the trades, so I'm a big proponent of the trades. I really like that about Honolulu Community College is that they offer it to so many.
Yeah.
But finding instructors is so difficult because you take a journeyman plumber and you're going to try to give him $50, $60 an hour to teach, where he's making much more than that in the field. So why would he want to stop what he's doing to go teach for $60 an hour? It's very difficult. You end up with the old retirement.
Well, that's what we get. It's true. We try to capture them right at retirement. We have some who were injured, you know, on the job. But yeah, we work closely with the unions. We try to get out to different, you know, organizations to say, if you've got somebody, maybe they're sick of working in the hot sun or whatever, we'll take them. And we have an aging faculty, so we're super worried about, you know, what's going to happen.
You mentioned online classes and working around somebody with a job. What of your programs have the most penetration?
It's pretty much the liberal arts classes. Yeah, so English, history, psychology, math, less so math now, Hawaiian studies. When the pandemic hit, I was pretty amazed at how some of our career technical education classes were able to adapt. For example, our automotive guys, they put a GoPro. We bought them GoPros, and they were in the shop working, but students were at home, you know, when we were all forced to be online. And then when we were able to come back, we could distance because we have a lot of space in some of our shops. But yeah, it's what we're learning is with our particular types of students, it is better that they be with us, hands-on. And I mean, some colleges are going asynchronous learning, but that's really tough. If you've got a just-in-time question, like in math, let's say, you don't want to be watching the whole lecture and then like an hour later think like, oh, what was my question about that formula? Or, you know, so we are encouraging more students to come back in person or at least be synchronous.
Do they still have that option to be online?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, wow.
They do for our liberal arts courses. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I think it makes sense if it provides better access and the student is very, very self-motivated, they can do it.
How about that direct nurturing of an actual job to an individual and not just making a functional, but now get us to the next step, faster and farther. And that was a philosophy DARPA used in a new regime of how to do DARPA contracts. We'll do it by contest. What are some of the innovative ways that you probably are exploring?
Well, so, you know, this idea that I mentioned about work-based learning opportunities, what we're realizing is that if students are able to have employment directly in their field, it does accelerate them that much more. You know, all employers want people with some experience, but how do they get that experience in the first place? So a number of our students we do employ on campus. And they do all kinds of functions. I mean, some of our students are older, so they've had experience, but some are right out of high school. And we do try to expose them as much as possible to whatever they're capable of doing. We want to encourage. I would say some people are better at that than others. But we are also really encouraging the internships. So all of the companies that are on our industry advisory committees, we're asking them to commit to hire our students at least part-time for a little bit so that they can really get a good sense of what's out there and contribute as much as they can.
So you mentioned internships.
Yeah.
Can I give them?
Yes.
Who do I contact? Who do I contact? Because that's one of the issues that my industry
Yeah.
faces, is finding skilled workers to be able to do the type of work that I do. It's very specialized. So
what I was like looking at your shirt.
we do subsurface utility engineering. So we do a lot of underground utility locating.
Yeah.
So you learn how to use fancy equipment. So I came in as an intern from the University of Hawaii campus.
Yeah.
But, you know, that kind of fizzled out over the years. But it's a lot easier to hire somebody if they know how to do the trade.
Absolutely.
You know, instead of trying to bring them on and onboard them in 6 months to get them out of the field.
So our office, White and State Energy Office, was tangentially involved in building a new solar farm.
Oh.
These are Tesla-type batteries that are about the size of refrigerators, a whole farm of them.
Yes.
To absorb the excess energy that we produce by solar during the day and then apply it to our evening peak. And we had to, I wasn't involved, but the contractors had to import experts from the mainland.
Yes.
I think they're up to 50. So you have to pay for their hotel, the whole business. These are highly skilled people earning high wages. It was just a shame we didn't have enough local people.
So we hear this quite a bit. There are, so I'll just give an example where I heard it recently is with, what's that? Yeah, no, well, yeah, we hear that, but the shipyard. So we work very close, the dry dock, exactly. So we work very closely with Pearl Harbor. We run the apprenticeship program there. And now with the dry dock, they are super concerned about the jobs that will be piling in with unqualified workers. What we struggle with is recruiting more students who want to do these types of jobs. So though we offer a lot of these programs, what we're finding is, number one, because DOE no longer offers career technical education lines, like shop lines that they used to have in the high schools, they've dried up. They don't offer them anymore. Some of the schools are slowly getting back into the McKinley. You know, Farrington offers Waipahu. They're slowly bringing them back. What it did was cultivate interest in students early, but they did away with that. And now we're trying to build that back up again. The second thing is the types of students coming through. They don't want to do hard work in the hot sun. They want to be in air conditioning on computer.
I have to let guys go because they said I don't want to work if it's going to be in the blazing sun.
Exactly. So it's kind of a different generation, and where we can bring AI in, you know, to help with that, I think we want to. But it is, you know, even if we've got great jobs, it's kind of hard to match up the pipeline of interest with students. Then I would say the third thing is, if the job is cyclical, it's hard to make the case to a student that you will work 6 months and make a lot of money, but then you'll be unemployed for 6 months. And then till the ship comes back in from Japan, we're not going to have any jobs until that happens. You know, so we're trying to work with Pearl Harbor on a different apprenticeship model where they can be employed year round and deployed to the dry dock when they need them, or, you know, whatever it is. But same way, how can you bank qualified, skilled workers for when you need them if there's nothing else for them to do? Or could they do something else? So that's what we're kind of struggling with.
Those of your students who decide to go for a university degree, does the majority of that transfer happen while they're in the AS associate program, or do they complete that associate degree and then go to the university?
That is an excellent question. Majority of them will transfer before completing their associate's degree.
So they discover that that is their path while they're in your college.
Or that was always their path, but they want to start in a smaller setting or one nearby home. And then they're ready to transfer after they've got some credits under their belt.
Thank you. One other, I know there's a lot of diversity, but one of the measures of the value of a program is how many years it takes, given the differential in earnings, to recoup the cost of the program. Do you have a rough figure, recognizing that there's quite a that's a variable across?
Yeah, that again, very good question. That UHERO report that I've referenced talks about that a little bit, because we know that for some students, we call it a 2-year or 4-year degree, but for some students, it will take 4 or 6 years. 7, we're gaining it with 7 years. And what's the ROI on that? I think that's what you're asking. Yeah, and what I would say, mainly because I work at a community college, is start with the community college. The credits do transfer to the 4 years, and it's really affordable. Not for everyone, I understand, and we try to give as much aid as possible, but it's $131 a credit. So it's about $390, for a class. It's very affordable for a lot of students, especially if they're able to get scholarships and aid. You will take the same classes at Manoa, but pay 3 times more. So start there, transfer, and even if it takes you a little longer, it's still going to be worth it.
In high school, they pushed the 4-year baccalaureate route really, really strongly. They don't like it that you go to a community college, and it's almost looked down upon amongst your peers to go to a community college. That, I mean, I wasn't. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. But after going through the system, I know now it's like, man, my kids are going to go to the community college first, get their prereqs out of the way, then transfer over. That seems to be the most cost-effective route that makes it really affordable, and so they don't end up with too much debt afterwards.
Yeah,
it's the issue though is a lot of the high schools are pushing that you have, because I guess it looks better on them, right? When they can say, oh, I sent this person to UH Manoa.
I think there are many students though at the high school level that are Akamai's financing. They will purposely go to a community college first because it's cheaper.
Well, yeah, but it is looked down upon, amongst your peers that, oh, you want to go to community college. Yeah, that's what I felt. I mean, it should be encouraged more. Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I know many though that prefer to go to community college first, and then.
Right.
So there's a mix of that. I don't know what percentage actually go from the community college to the 4-year program. Do you have any idea?
So at our particular college, we actually don't have as many transferring because a lot of them have terminal associate degrees and then they go work. But at like a KCC or a Leeward community college, they have quite a number of students who will transfer.
An emerging field is electric vehicles.
Yes.
And there's a lot of training involved. Those electric batteries, they ain't simple. So we're looking at. I just got back from an energy conference on the mainland, and that was a lament. How do we install them? What if there's a problem? Who in the world understands these things? I wonder if you've had any.
Yes. So our automotive program, it's taken us a little while to work with our faculty. But I think they finally have seen that, we need to get into the EV business. The issue with EV batteries is a lot of times they're proprietary in the automobile. But what we can do is teach the safety aspect of things, which is universal, whether you're a Nissan or Tesla or whatever. And so we're trying to develop that curriculum of course, borrowing from other people have gone ahead, but we realize, yeah, we need to be in that space to get our students up to date on EV. Just recently, we were approached by, I can't remember the name. It's a truck EV. Rivian. Yes, we were just approached by them because they want to partner together to put on a curriculum so that they're just starting out in Hawaii and they want the workforce to be ready, yeah, for their trucks. Yeah.
There's some electric buses coming up. They're rolling around on the streets now.
Yes.
They're going to need some maintenance.
Yes, agreed.
A more complex issue is the fact that as we go more and more solar, more and more renewable,
yeah,
and less fossil fuel, the grid is not just one way as it was when you and I grew up. It's not just two way, it's multiple ways. You have many sources of PV powered electricity coming in. How are you going to integrate that with everything else and create microgrids and so forth? That's a rapidly emerging field.
I don't know. But I'll say something else, Howard, is that what we're also realizing is we've had to do training with first responders. So if a grid catches fire, it's different than, right? You can't just like throw water on it. So we've had to do some training with first responders in all the counties. So this is where HCC is not just local, but we've worked with Maui and Hawaii Island, and I think with your office in doing some first responder training around solar and PV.
Question about the student attitude. Do you see a genuine will to learn among those who attend the college classes, or is it a short-term desire to get a job? I will not quote you on this.
It depends.
Well, increasingly, I think from what I see in the universities, there is less focus on the longer term career values.
Yeah.
More on the here and now. It's a difficult time to be a university administrator. I guess you count your blessings that there aren't a lot of tents on your property right now.
True, very true.
Yeah.
I'm a Columbia grad, so when I'm reading about what's happening, I'm actually okay with protests, totally fine with it. But yeah, it's gone a little haywire there. It's hard because the motivation question is, it's not easy and it's not universal. And for sure, the immediate gratification that students are used to is something that they want. And it's really difficult to try to meet that, for students who are coming in. What we have found is a number of students who maybe fail out initially because they didn't have the motivation or the desire to learn, and they come back later when they realize they're ready for it, either a career change, or they're now ready to buckle down and study, or some other motivating factor, family. So we're seeing more of that.
Good. Well, bless you for the work that you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bill, this is following up on what you were saying, long-term, short-term money making. I discovered a very interesting route to that in China, in Beijing, especially in 2010, when I had been to other Asian countries and they were still using gas scooters.
Yeah.
They basically made an incentive and allowed a lot of young people to find a place in their backyard to become expert electric scooter repair people. And it was like an automatic incentive for the short term, but a lot of entrepreneurs were created out of that you see today, that just were right on the vanguard of getting rid of this pollution and being excited about the new skill.
Yeah, yeah.
I was in Shanghai and related cities a few years ago. And something that struck me was there's scooters everywhere, scooters, millions of scooters. And they hardly make any noise because they're all electric. If those things were gas fired, the noise would be horrendous and you couldn't even breathe the air. So there's a trend, not just electric vehicles, but electric micro transportation modes. And a little issue with lithium ion batteries catching fire. I don't know.
I'm trying to emphasize, though, there it was changing laws in who can work, where they can work, how they can work. And that became outside of the schools saying they'll do this, this, and the other, but became spontaneous. And just on the way here today, apparently at UH, there is a program of using social networks and trying to invigorate a talk among the social, they say it's from the Learning Center at UH. I don't have more information on it than that, but the spokeslady that they had for it was just spellbinding.
I had already graduated from college as a educator when I determined to go in engineering. So I came in a whole different route. And strangely enough, a friend of mine ran one of the local cement mills where they manufactured cement. And I needed money. He gave me a part-time job in the plant. So I got a lot of good field experience that reinforced my engineering education. So it was an unusual way to go to school.
It's great.
Hi, everyone.
Dad.
Hey.
Sorry, it's a little bit tough.
Yeah, tell about your recent history, how you got to the Detroit area, and
Yeah, so I will like maybe to start a little bit from the beginning, because now I'm an engineer. So my school, when I finished the law school, and I had the chance to work as a legal advisor, but the salary, I had to travel with a car, and the salary in Europe, the gas it's way expensive than US. So I had to pay more money for the gas that I got the salary. So then someone says, listen, we have an engineering company, which is from US. It's Aptiv now. Back then was Delphi. And they say, listen, you can work as an engineer here. You can apply. They're looking for a lot of engineers they could not find on the market. And I was laughing initially, saying, I finished the law school. We don't do maths there. We just learn laws and stuff like that. So, and then you say, just try. If you are good, yeah, they will take you. And I was there. It was a very intense interview. I told them, I can work 6 months for free, and you just let me try to see how I do. I wasn't having any experience this was my first job. So they say, yeah, okay, let's see what we can do. Of course, I asked a very low salary. I remember almost as an operator. So that was a lesson learned for me. And they hire me. So that was a really, really good school. And that's why, make me switch from law school to engineering school and then start doing in parallel the engineering school. And later I got the offer. I changed the company, and this company that I'm working at Continental, they I had asked me to come in US to give some support. And then at one they say, can you stay here? Do you want to work here? And at the time I wasn't I couldn't do that. My wife was in school in the university, so he had to finish. But they insisted. So at one point I said, okay, let's go. I mean, my wife said, you will never go. Say, okay, it's tough. For me, it's maybe not too complicated, but for her, it's a little bit more because she doesn't know English to speak. So, and yeah, that's how I got transferred. Like 2 years ago, I got the interview for the job here in the Detroit area in the automotive industry. And I'm working here since then.
Automotive.
All right, well, thank you all. I appreciate the explanation. That was a good story.
Yeah.
It was my pleasure. Thank you, Dr. Lee, for coming to speak with us.
Thank you.
I'd
Oh,
like to present you a
thank
certificate
you.
on behalf of the engineers and architects of Hawaii. Right. Okay.
Thank
Thank you very
you.
much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you online.
Thank you.
That concludes today's program. Thank you again to our speaker, Dr. Lee.
Engineers and architects of Hawaii welcome your comment on this program and any of our recent programs. We encourage your direct participation in this community outreach. So please email us your comments and ideas at eahawaii@gmail.com.